Good continues. Now, we know that the most at-risk group of contracting and being most severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic are the elderly. Now, those whose immune systems have naturally weakened. But this morning, we bring you a positive story, a survivor story from Woodside Care Centre for the Elderly in Cape Town.
Right when infections were starting to pick up in the country, 4 of the centres for the elderly residents and 5 of the centre's staff contracted the disease, with one of the infected being a 100-year-old. However, all of them have survived and made full recoveries. And Lindsay Donachie, the healthcare manager of the Woodside Care Centre, joins us in a video call, or over a video call, to tell us more about this great news. Lindsay, good morning. This is such fantastic news to share, really.
Yes, morning everybody, and thank you for having us. We are really, really proud of how well Woodside has managed to look after the residents and the staff here.
We love to see it. We love this positivity so early in the morning. But tell us, what is the general condition of your elderly residents, and when did you first realize that you and your residents could possibly have the virus?
So we have residents that range from about the age of 80 to over 100. And we deal with many frail residents, and we have quite a few residents who have dementia. But our residents are actually well and healthy, despite the conditions that they have. And we sort of suspected that when I got ill on about the 12th of May, that there could have been COVID that was in and around the home that we have here. I got tested the next day, and that is when we put all measures into place, and we did a mass testing of all residents and staff.
Lindsay, we know that the elderly are amongst the most vulnerable to the COVID-19. How difficult was the road to recovery for them in particular, and for yourself, I suppose?
Okay, so it was actually quite difficult. Well, some of them were really, really sick. And fortunately, none of them needed to be hospitalized. But we actually had 2 that were totally asymptomatic. So they didn't even know that they had the condition, which was quite amazing, because everybody says, yes, the elderly are the most vulnerable. But they were asymptomatic, and they are absolutely 100% fine. Our oldest lady, as you know, was 100 years old.
Yeah.
And she was particularly ill. But she is now back to her normal self, and she loves sitting doing her crossword puzzles and her Sudokus, and she's back to her normal self, which is absolutely amazing. It is the most wonderful thing to see, this recovery.
We're going to talk about that in a minute, but just for you as per se, I mean, you were infected and then have since recovered. I know, you know, with the nurses being infected and have been put in quarantine, tell us a bit more about the protective measures that you guys had to put in place, you know, just to control the pandemic as well.
So in a nursing facility, it is really, really difficult because we have 24-hour shifts. So what happened is we had to close down the facility completely to all our permanent nursing staff. We obviously couldn't close it for the residents. But on the Thursday night at 7 o'clock, we got a whole new staff in for 14 days, and they actually moved into the facility that we have. And we had to do a deep clean of all the rooms and every single place in the facility. And we had staff that actually moved into the facility, including kitchen staff and cleaning staff. And they moved in for the period of 14 days and took over. So I felt so sorry for them, because it was a complete change to them. These staff members had never, ever seen the residents before. So it was quite a challenge, but they managed. For me, it was very difficult because I couldn't, as being the manager of the facility, I wasn't able to be here. First of all, because I was sick, and secondly, because we were put in quarantine. But I thank the staff that took over. And fortunately, we managed to bring all our staff back after 2 weeks, and they were all healthy. Some of them did get the disease, and we still have some staff that have the disease, but we are managing it because I don't think this disease is ever going to leave us, or not in the near future at least. But we manage it, we screen everybody that comes in, we make sure that we use our masks. I don't have a mask on at the moment because it would be difficult to talk to you, but we wear masks all the time, we sanitize our hands regularly, and the screening of doing temperature checks twice a day with our residents, and every time the staff come in on duty, we do their temperature checks.
Such a fantastic story to tell that one of your COVID-19 survivors is a 100-year-old resident. I mean, this is someone who's lived through the world wars, apartheid, and now this. And to hear that she's doing well is just such a beautiful story. But tell us, are these people at the center, the elderly, are they able to receive visitors at this time?
No, unfortunately, we're not allowed to get visitors to come in. The only people that come into the healthcare facility would be doctors. That would be obviously if there is a medical reason for the doctors to come in. But family and friends at this stage are not able to come in. And it's been really, really tough because we've been on lockdown a week before the actual lockdown started in March. But what we have done to try and counteract that is we have video calls for our residents 3 times a week where the families are able to phone and video call the residents and at least have contact in that way. We also have, like when it was Mother's Day and Father's Day, we organize events so that they feel part of the day and make it special for them. And if they have a birthday, we make it special for them as well. So we've got a fantastic team of nurses that keep the spirit up as much as possible. We would really love to have visitors coming in, and as soon as possible, we will definitely look at maybe getting a bride together or having families, but we keep the lockdown as strict as possible here in order to make it as safe as possible for residents.
Well, listen, Lindsay, if that braai is happening, I'm promising you, I'm bringing Tabisa with for entertainment, okay? But thank you so much for that positive story this morning. I think we all needed to hear it. The smiles around in the studio. But thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day further.